I'm sure many of you know someone who is addicted to some kind of substance. In the U.S., the top 10 most abused drugs are
1. Alcohol, abused by 135.5 million Americans. 2. Tobacco, abused by 69.5 million Americans. 3. Marijuana, abused by 18.9 million Americans. 4. Painkillers, known as Vicodin and Oxycontin, abused by 2.4 million Americans. 5. Prescription sedatives, abused by 2.4 million Americans.
6. Cocaine, which is abused by 1.6 million. 7. Prescription stimulants, such as Adderall, which is used by 1.2 million. 8. Hallucinogens, which is used by 1.1 million. Heroin, 669,000 Americans. And lastly, meth, which is a stimulant used by 440,000 Americans.
Did you know that alcohol and drugs are the leading causes of crime between the youth? Alcohol and drugs are the leading factors of teenage suicide. And more than 23 million people over the age of 12 are addicted to alcohol. Drugs and alcohol aren't the only things you can get addicted to. There are other things such as video games and television.
Addiction is being physically or mentally dependent on a particular substance. 20% of Americans as of today have a drug dependence. Often people start taking drugs because they suffer from anxiety, bipolar disorder, depression, or other mental illnesses. People see their role models, such as actors, family members, singers, and because they see them using drugs, they think it's okay for them to use them too. They think it will help relieve stress, and usually when people get physically injured and their doctor prescribes them a medicine, such as a pain pill, they don't know when to stop taking the pill, so they get addicted to it. You can tell if adolescence is using drugs by these warning signs. Their grades drop, there's a change in friends, and they can develop unusual sleeping habits. Other warning signs are they become angry when confronted, they don't enjoy doing things they once liked to do, and they just simply isolate themselves. Drugs are very expensive. They can lead to people being homeless, selling personal belongings, or even having sex with strangers for money. People who want to get help or know someone who wants help can contact or research rehab centers. Rehab centers is a course of treatment for alcohol and drug dependence, which is typically completed at a residential facility. I have an aunt who is 45 years old, and she lives in Chicago, and has 3 sons who are my cousins. For the last 11 years, my aunt hasn't worked and never attended family reunions, Christmases, Thanksgiving, and any other holiday. I remember when I was in 7th grade, her oldest son was in 5th. He used to get bullied by boys on his basketball team. One day I walked into the gym and seen his coach yelling at him while the boys around him were pushing him and calling him out of his name. As soon as I seen that, I got into a huge argument with the bullies and demanded the principal do something about it. That day my cousin quit the basketball team, and I called my aunt and told her about what happened, and she didn't even care. It was like it went in one ear and out the other. The reason why it was such a blur and she didn't comprehend it was because she has been addicted to Oxycontin, which treats moderate to severe pain, and Xanax, which treats anxiety and panic disorder. This is something she recently told the family. Without the drugs in her system, she feels sick, she starts sweating, her eye and lip twitches. These are symptoms of an addict. She recently checked into a rehab for her 5th time and claims she's been clean since, which would be 3 months. In the past, she's relapsed 4 times, which means after a period of time of being off the drugs and being sober, she falls right back into doing the drugs. Today, my aunt feels bad about her choices and wishes she would have never took the drugs because it changed her life in a bad way. She always tells me and her oldest son, never take drugs because you want to fit in. Look at where it got me. Don't make a dumb mistake. By sharing this with you all today, I want you to know that the abuse of a substance will eventually lead someone to their death. So think about choices you make and the consequences of that decision.
An addict spends overall $225 billion on health care. Over 15 million Americans depend on alcohol. 500,000 are between the ages of 9 and 12. 42 states say that consumers spend an overall $1,270 on beer alone. Due to an addiction to alcohol, every party or gatherings always led to a problem. Drinking intoxicated is very dangerous. Not only are you risking your life, but the people around you. An alcoholic will always believe they could do anything, and my uncle was one of them. Even though he was drunk, he thought he was okay to drive. And due to that, the consequences were that he was driving drunk and he got pulled over and he was sent back to Mexico. We tried to help him, but his ego would always get in the way and it would always come out through one ear. He never admitted to having a problem. In the US, every 30 minutes, someone is killed in an alcohol-related accident. Unfortunately, my uncle was behind the wheel while driving intoxicated with high levels of alcohol in his system and passed away. I am a daughter of 2 alcoholics. My dad's first alcohol beverage was when he was 13, and his last beverage was when he was 32. My mom's first drink was when she was 16, and her last was when she was 32 as well. I am happy to say that my parents have been sober for 7 years. It affected my childhood because I would come home from school and my parents would be either passed out or drunk. It was kind of hard because I couldn't tell nobody because I was ashamed. I didn't want people to know me as the daughter of an alcoholic. I mean, who wants to be known as that type of person? My parents have gotten help, and due to that, me and my sister were there to help them. We listened to them, we were patient, we were there for them. And we're there for them today, and we still are there for them now, because we don't want my 2 younger brothers to go through the same thing that me and my sister went through. My family today is happy, and I'm proud to say that I am a daughter of 2 amazing parents. We do everything together, such as we go out every Fridays, or we have movie nights. Saturdays we do our own thing, but then again, we go back to being together. Sundays, it's either church, then dinner, and then we go home to have a movie night. Every addiction has a treatment. So that means that for alcohol, there's a thing called AA, known as Alcoholics Anonymous. It not only helps alcoholics, but also everybody else who is addicted to any other kind of substance, such as drugs, food, and etc. I guess you can say that alcohol is just as compared to a baby's breast milk from getting it from its mother. Kind of like if you think about it, it's like if you tell a baby to not drink its mother's milk, that means that the baby can't get life or strength. So for an alcoholic to put down the drink, it's kind of saying they can't because they thirst for it and they want it. Things you can do to help people is to listen to them, to be patient, and to always be there for them. Because remember, there is a way out. And 35% of Americans who have a family member who is addicted risk being addicted to a substance as well. So that means that I can be addicted to it when I grow up because my parents were addicted. Because of my parents' soberness came my little brother Jacob. And because of that, we are now happy and we are a closer family. Just know that there is a way out and that you just have to be there for them and be patient.
If you are or know someone who is an addict, please visit recovery.org or call 1-844-693-3785. Thank you.